The last days of Jedediah Kane's breath came in shallow, ragged gasps, each one heavier than the last. His weathered body lay stretched on a narrow cot in the dim cabin, its wooden floor warped and scarred like the years he had survived on this unforgiving land. Outside, the wind howled like a lost soul through the cracks and chinks of the old homestead. Dust swirled in the cold air, dancing in the pale moonlight that filtered through the single window. His hands, once steady and strong enough to wrestle horses and hold a rifle steady under fire, were now thin and trembling. His fingers curled weakly around the threadbare blanket draped over his chest. Jedediah had been a man built of iron will, but this sickness was wearing him down, grinding him into a shadow of himself. A deep cough rattled in his chest, shaking his frame, and blood stained the rough blanket. The only sound besides the relentless wind was the slow creaking of the cabin, the last bastion of a life filled with hardship, pain, and regret. In a faded photograph on the battered wooden table, his gaze found the smiling face of Mary, his wife, forever frozen in time. She held their infant son Thomas close in the picture, and Jedediah's throat tightened at the memory. He had not seen them in years. The law had torn his family from him like a ravenous wolf tearing flesh from bone. Accused of crimes he never committed, hunted by those who saw only a villain's face, Jedediah was branded an outlaw. His name was plastered across every town and settlement in the territory, displayed on a crumpled yellowed piece of paper nailed to the door, "Wanted, Jedediah Kane, dead or alive." That poster was the symbol of everything he had lost. Memories pressed in on him, relentless as the desert sun. The last fight, the burning of the homestead, the screams in the night. The moment Mary had slipped their son away from him for safety, swearing she'd find a way to return him to a life free from this cursed name. His lungs burned as the fever took hold again, and his eyelids fluttered shut. But then a faint sound sliced through the night, a cry, soft and broken, like a fragile whisper carried on the wind. Jedediah's eyes snapped open. A baby's cry at this hour. Outside? With great effort, he pushed himself upright, gripping the edge of the cot to steady his trembling frame. His legs protested, but the cry came again, persistent and raw. He staggered to the door, fingers fumbling with the latch. Cold night air rushed in, biting at his cracked skin. The moonlight revealed a small bundle lying on the doorstep, swaddled in filthy rags, and wrapped around the infant. Startling and unmistakable was a worn and tattered wanted poster, the same one bearing Jedediah's name and face. The baby's tiny fists clutched the paper, the fragile creature shivering against the chill. Jedediah's heart slammed against his ribs. He bent slowly, scooping the infant into his arms with trembling hands. The baby's eyes, dark and wide, looked up at him without fear. In that instant, the past, the pain, and the loneliness all collided. He whispered hoarsely, "Who left you here, wrapped in my curse?" Cradling the child close, Jedediah stepped back into the warmth of the cabin, the flickering candlelight casting long shadows on the walls. For the first time in years, a faint ember of hope stirred in his failing heart. Inside the cabin, laid the baby gently on a makeshift bed. The infant's breaths were shallow but steady. Jedediah's eyes searched the child's face, smooth and unblemished. The soft curl of dark hair, a tiny button nose. A memory stirred deep inside him. The night Mary had told him about their son's fate, whispering hope before she was taken away. Was this Thomas? His fingers traced the child's cheek with reverence. For all his years of running, for all the pain etched in his bones, here was something pure and innocent, wrapped in the symbol of his outlawed past. The cabin was silent, except for the baby's soft coos and Jedediah's ragged breathing. His mind drifted back through the years to happier days before the wanted poster, before the burning ranch, before the life was torn apart. He remembered Mary's laughter, the first cry of his son, and the promise he made to protect them. Now, with the end drawing near, it seemed fate had given him one last chance. Jedediah's lips trembled as he whispered, "I won't let them take you away from me." Though his body was weak, a fierce determination flared inside him. He would guard this child, protect this spark of hope, even if it was the last thing he ever did. The night stretched on, the storm of memories and the cold wind outside matched only by the fragile bond forming inside the little cabin. Jedediah's breath slowed, but his heart beat with a newfound purpose. For the first time in a long time, he was not alone.